Hello there, people everywhere. It is the dude, your dude, Intergalactic Brew, willing to grace your presence once again with another video. And once again, it's an MMA video, y'all. I've been doing a lot of MMA lately because this is MMA season right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, the March Madness has been going alright. You know, unfortunately for me, my bracket has gotten busted to no end. Two of my top picks for the Final Four, or who I had going to the Final Four, are gone. Cheer. But, you know, I'll live. That's basketball. You know, sometimes the worst teams could be the best teams, you know. I mean, when it comes down to competition, and especially a high stakes competition or whatever you want to call it, it's not about material stuff. It's not about who's got the higher seating. It's not who's got the best reputation. It's who comes out and who plays the best, and you know, who's the more prepared team, you know, or competitor. But anyway, that's beyond that. What we're here to talk about is UFC Fight Night 24 this Saturday night, free on Spike TV. And yes, I'll say it again, free, because that's what the UFC does. They give us free fights when they don't have a huge pay-per-view going down. But anyway, let's get to it. We've got two very intriguing main events here. We've got Anthony Rumble Johnson, one of my favorite welterweights in the UFC, going up against another guy that I have recently drawn to. I wasn't a real big fan of this guy at first. Of course, I'm talking about Dan Hardy. Not because that he could not fight. I mean, he's a phenomenal fighter. You know, tough guy. You know, not afraid to go in there and risk it all for the sake of victory. I love that. But it was just his personality. You know, he talked a little bit too much for me. But since then, you know, he has kind of calmed down. You know, and I like that. You know, I like that. It's just something about him lately that has drawn me to him. I guess because, you know, he's not, you know, talking so much. You know, he's only talking when he needs to. And that's cool with me. But anyway, let's get to it. I'm going to go over the Facebook card, or the preliminary card, the second one, however you want to put it. First off, we got Alex Caceres going up against Makins Simizer. Now, Alex Caceres, who y'all might know him famously for as Bruce Leroy, he was on the recent edition of The Ultimate Fighter with Josh Koscheck and George St. Pierre. Had a very impressive run on that show, pretty much just blazing his opponents. You know, he's won all of his fights that he has won by submission, so that lets you know he is a BJJ fighter. Also, his striking ability is not too shabby either. You know, he's got some good kicks, good punches. He's pretty good in the clinch as well. So we're looking at a very versatile fighter here, which is a good thing. That's how you survive in today's modern MMA. You have to be well-rounded. Like, the one-dimensional era for MMA fighters is over. Like, when Chuck Liddell retired and all these other guys like Vanderlei and all these other guys are getting older, and, you know, Crow Cop and everybody, that lets you know that the era of the one-dimensional fighter is over. You have to be a well-rounded fighter. But anyway, Alex Caceres is that, and he's gonna look to bring that well-roundedness into this fight, because he's gonna be facing a very tough, hungry up-and-comer, much like himself, in Macken's Simizer. Mackins fought in the WEC. He was a very impressive guy there. He was beating guys up left and right. He's had a couple of TKO victories. From what I hear, he's a pretty solid wrestler. So that's a very interesting factor in this fight, being that when Caceres fought Michael Johnson in the semifinals, Johnson actually came from a wrestling background, and he was able to take Alex down and control him there for most of the fight. And so that's something that I'm sure Alex Caceres has been focusing on and has been training for, to deal with the wrestling of Mackins. And I'm pretty sure that Mackins will be looking to display that wrestling ability and take Bruce Leroy down time after time and control him for a decision victory. Now, if Alex is going to win this fight, Alex needs to keep this fight standing. He needs to use his striking, which is very good. Like I said, he has very good kicks, solid punches. He's solid in the clinch as well. So he would probably need to come out from the opening bell and just pretty much keep this fight at a fast pace, using those kicks and punches and knees in the clinch. If he can do that, he will win the fight. But what people do not know, or the few people that don't know, because there are some people that do know, that Mackins does possess a pretty good striking skill himself. But for people that don't know, Mackins does have pretty solid striking himself. Like I said, he's had a few TKO victories from the highlights that I've seen of him in the WEC. So he can stop Bruce Leroy here. But I just think standing up, Bruce Leroy has a lot more skills striking wise to beat Mackins. Now, will he knock him out? I don't know. Could he possibly TKO him? That is a definite possibility. But my prediction for this fight, I'm gonna go with Bruce Leroy to win this fight. I know everybody's picking Mackins because he's strong, and like I said, he has the wrestling ability, and he can defeat Alex by decision. But I just think that Caceres is going to be a little bit too quick for him. Like I said, he has a lot more ability standing up, and I think that he's going to be able to stuff the takedowns of Mackins if he chooses to take Bruce Leroy down. Because like I said, being that he already previously fought a wrestler in Michael Johnson, I'm pretty sure that he's looked at that footage, and I'm sure that he's looked at footage of Mackins, and I know that he will be training for that, and I know he will be well prepared for the takedowns of Simizer. So, with that being said, I'm going to pick Bruce Leroy to win this fight. I will say by TKO, and I'll say it's going to come late in the second round. But, like I said, I'm not counting out Mackins. He could win the fight by decision if he uses his wrestling and takes him down. Okay, next fight we have is John Madsen, the Brock Lesnar product, going up against Mike Russo, or whatever you want to call him. You can call him the guy that pretty much sent Todd Duffy packing, you know, or you could just call him Duffy Killer. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, John Madsen, Mike Russo, John Madsen, we all know what his deal is. Superior wrestler, decent striker, uh, very strong, and very dominant. Mike Russo, good mat technician, has very good submissions, but as I just mentioned from the Todd Duffy fight, he can knock you out too. So he does have some striking in his arsenal as well. Will that be effective in this fight? I don't think so. But being that John Madsen is the superior grappler here, Mike Russo is going to have to keep this fight standing somehow. Because even though John Madsen does have solid hands, he does not have the striking ability that Mike Russo has. Mike Russo knocked Todd Duffy out with one shot and put him in a coma, and that was all she wrote. So, John Madsen will have to use that wrestling and have to take Mike Russo down, which I think he can do. And I think if he gets him there, I think he can control him, and I think he could possibly TKO Mike Russo. In order for Mike Russo to win this fight, he's going to have to somehow, some way, try to knock John Madsen out. And I don't know how hard John Madsen's chin is, but I could just probably look at him and tell that he's got a pretty good one. So, Mike Russo is going to have to find some way to keep this fight standing up and possibly outpoint John Madsen, if not knocking him down and out. But I think what's really going to happen here is I think that John Madsen is going to take Mike Russo down at will. I think he's going to be able to control him from the top, and I think he's going to be able to ground and pound Mike Russo. I think it's going to happen. I'm going to be bold here. I'm going to say late first round. Late first round. But, you know, you can never doubt Russo. You know, he can always come with one of those surprising knockouts. So we'll just have to see what happens there. Real quick, I'm picking John Hathaway over Chris McCray. He's just too tall, too long. He's the better striker, and, you know, he's got some pretty good grappling skill as well. So there you go. Sean McCorkle, Christian Morecraft. I'm picking Sean McCorkle via submission. I'm going to say it's going to happen in the first round. Christian Morecraft got completely dominated by Stefan Struve in their fight, and he was able to take Morecraft down and pound him out. Even though it was a comeback win, he was still able to get it done. So, Sean McCorkle over Christian Morecraft. Alright, going on to the main card. We have the Korean Zombie, or the ex-Korean Zombie, Chan Sung Young, going up against Leonard Garcia. Now, I know everybody's raving about Leonard Garcia and all these controversial decisions that he's been getting, which I do agree with, but, you know, unfortunately, what MMA has come to, you know, if you just make the fight exciting and you just do enough to wow the judges, you will get the decision. That sucks, but that's how it is, though. But I think that I think Chan Sung Young is going to win this fight, and I think it's going to be no controversy. I think he's going to be able to you know, I think he might be able to outpoint Leonard Garcia on the feet, and I think he might be able to take Leonard Garcia down because Leonard Garcia has no mat skill whatsoever. He is strictly a brawler, and being that the Korean Zombie is a foreign fighter, that means he does have a lot of skill. So basically, what's going to happen is he's just going to outclass Leonard Garcia here, and he's going to win this fight by unanimous decision with no dispute involved. Although a judge could give Leonard Garcia, you know, a slight score, whatever you want to call it. Leonard Garcia, he's basically just going to brawl. The only chance he has of winning this fight is if he somehow can knock the Korean Zombie out, but I don't think that's possible. So I'm picking Chan Sung Young over Leonard Garcia.